Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Welcome to Donut Dollies Documentary TV. My name is Norm. I'm the director. And this is Jim Gardner, the co-producer, archivist, music supervisor, many hats. Welcome, Jim.
We all wore many hats.
That is true.
But it's good to be here. Good to be here.
Good to have you. And thanks for anybody and everybody tuning in. This is we've done a couple of live Facebooks in the past. This is the first one that is featuring two people at the same time, and we're going to have some images as well. And today, the specific thing we wanted to share and talk about was is a fun new thing that we're doing that's being spearheaded by Jim. And Jim, why don't you take it away and tell us a little bit about what that is?
Well, okay. Basically, it's called Memorabilia Monday, and that kind of spells it out right there. Every Monday, we're planning to have a piece of memorabilia that's been shared with us from Donut Dollies. We're planning on some from Korea if we, if Korean Donut Dollies can share those with us, that would be great. Currently, our focus is the Vietnam War Donut Dollies, and it's grown out of the fact that from the beginning of the film and doing our outreach, we've been able to amass about 4,000 photographs from Donut Dollies. And, that's just an amazing quantity. And those were, shared. And, we've used quite a few in, not of the 4,000, but, hundreds in our film as well as in our bonus features. Pardon me.
Thank you. Yeah. While you take a sip there, I'll jump in and say, yeah, that is an amazing amount of material. All of those archival photos and videos or film that was shared, and three-dimensional pieces as well, which I know is one that you just posted. We really are grateful for everyone who's contributed to enriching the history and the context of the film. I should say, if anybody's just tuning in and doesn't know what this is, we have made a documentary, a feature-length documentary about amazing women who volunteered in Korea and Vietnam. Maybe I can put a bigger one here for a second. Oops, blocking us. But she's there on the left. That's Dorset.
Wait. Where is Dorset? Dorset's over there, huh?
Dorset's on my side, and Mary Bo is on your side. They were best friends in college, and they decided to go to Vietnam and volunteer for over a year, or for about a year, in 1968 into 1969. And our project, which you can now check out and rent or buy on donutdollies.com, is documenting them coming back to Vietnam for the first time since the war. So when we filmed, it was almost 50 years. It's a pretty powerful film. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll enjoy it, and you'll also see a lot of these archival photos that Jim was mentioning. And you want to talk a little more about the photos and the other elements that you've
well, sure. We took this plunge into this Monday feature because, as most people are aware, it's Women's History Month, and it's so important that this story gets out there and is shared with the public. A lot of these women haven't shared their stories, some not even with, their families, in detail. So to have them actually reach out to us and want to share their stories, their photos, their memorabilia is such an honor. When we first started on this project, Norm brought it to myself and Jess Hill, our producer, and said, I want to do this. And, it was really a first time effort for all of us. And, it just blossomed out of, the love and caring and interest of these women who have served in Korea and Vietnam. We're just blessed. And it's really, it has shown in the film itself. And And through other features, we're going to restart. I hope this next Friday or this coming Friday, the Donut Dolly detail. And so that's basically we created 10 questions that we provide to each Donut Dolly. And in turn, what they do is they answer those 10 questions, provide at least 3 or 4 photos, and we create their own feature. It's basically an in their own words feature, and we have 60 so far, and there were 600 plus women who served. So there's a lot of other stories, and we really do want the help of the Donut Dollies to help share their stories. And I should point out that the Memorabilia Monday feature is also going to be in, if you go to our website, donutdollies.com, and click on Donut Dolly Detail, you'll have both the Memorabilia Monday and then also Donut Dolly Detail. So there you are.
Thank you, Jim. And we're here broadcasting live on Facebook, and I know you've been posting the Memorabilia Mondays on here as well. And one exciting thing is there's been a lot of throughout. There's been a lot of support from veterans and people who either knew the Donut Dollies or heard of them or have come to know about them maybe through the film and through our Facebook page, which we really appreciate. I'll start a slide in a minute that shows the first piece. You can talk about that, and then the one from this week, especially in the second one, we really appreciate a lot of people kind of chiming in comments and letting us know, helping us identify a lot of the patches and insignias on the piece.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and and also, sorry to interrupt you there. We're monitoring comments, and Susan, thank you for commenting. You'll see us at the Vietnam Helicopter Pilots Reunion in May. Susan, Donut Dolly 7071. That's great. I can't wait to meet you, and thank you so much for tuning in, and obviously also for your service.
Susan, I believe has shared photos with us as well. Susan Bradshaw. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan. I will see if I can start this slide thing with some images in there. Theoretically, we should, we'll be able to see these. Can you see those, Jim?
I can. This was our first. And I really felt that this told the story, and worked in, with it being first, because this is the letter received by a Donut Dolly saying that she had passed her health screening and that she's been welcomed into the Supplemental Recreation Activities Overseas program. And it's actually 2 pages long, but I love, and this is small for me, but if you go to Donut Dolly Detail on our website, you can see the full size version. Don't do that now, because we're talking about some really fun, good stuff. But there's just quite a few things that are in that. Well, first off, it actually does lay out what they're going to get paid per year. And boy, if I take off my glasses and look close, what is it? It's I don't know. What is it?
I can zoom in on this side.
$52,000 or $5,200 a year.
Yeah, $5,075.46.
There you go.
Plus an overseas allowance. I'm not sure how much that was, but
that's right.
I suspect it wasn't.
It goes into the rest of the detail of immunizations that need to be had, passport photos, stipends for uniform. It really lays everything out. And as I seem to remember, and if I believe it's in the actual feature that we have, I believe this letter came to this woman, Diane Diggs Bird, who's just a wonderful woman. I had a really wonderful conversation with her one day, and it was her story is quite amazing, and we've actually featured her also in the Donut Dolly Detail. Definitely worthwhile reading about her story. I was going somewhere with that thought before. This is what I believe. this letter came like 2.5 weeks before she had to report for training. Now, can you imagine being, college graduate, and then all of a sudden you get this, and you basically have to scramble to do all this stuff to be part of this. And then what, 2-3 weeks later, they're in Saigon, and then from there, they're being distributed out through the bases that are, that they're servicing in Vietnam. I mean, this was a very fast-paced turnaround, and I can't even imagine what it was like. It's head spinning if you think about it. And I believe the men also went through a very, very similar situation where, going through all that training and then bang, you're in country. So it's hard for some of us, who haven't had the experience to imagine what it's all about. So.
Yeah, hard and
But I love that
impossible.
letter. I mean, that's a really great. It's a great letter, and just really tells quite a story.
Yeah, thank you, Jim, and thank you, Diane, for sharing with us. It's such a exciting thing to see a genuine letter. One of the things that inspired me to do the documentary initially over 20 years ago was hearing my mom's stories about her time in Vietnam, but also, sadly, all of her memorabilia was destroyed. We thought it was safe in a shed, or she thought it was in the 70s. She put stuff there, and then unfortunately it got all destroyed by water and weather damage over long winters in New England. But so she had one of these letters, actually probably from the same time, because she her volunteer time and her interview for the program was also in the Mayish, April, May of 1968, but hers got lost. So to get to see this and to get to share it with my mom is really, really special. So we're really kind of rebuilding and creating kind of a really nice shared history and archive of what the Donut Dollies did and the steps along the way. And
that's really important.
Yeah.
And Norm, I'm just, this is live, so I'm gonna step away and actually turn up my light.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Do you want to tell people about Linny?
Yes, I can, and I'll let's see if I can switch the format here. We're mixing it. Yes. So
right now.
Oh, you're back. You're quick. This is the uniform and a bunch of patches of another wonderful Donut Dolly we got to meet. The Red Cross has been a really big supporter of our project, and rightly proud of this program that they made possible and created. We were based in LA during most of the filming, and we connected with the Red Cross chapter in Los Angeles early on. And soon after we filmed and returned to the States, they invited us to do kind of like a rough cut early screening of a portion of the film. And in the audience was a woman, and also we had a little Q&A afterwards. Woman we hadn't met before, named Linny Stone. She was one of the earlier Donut Dollies in Vietnam. A wonderful woman, and we had the opportunity to get to know her and film her and include some of her interviews in the film. Which even just to watch Linny, you should check out the film. There's millions of reasons to do so. Linny is so wonderful, and she also
all
shared
these women are worth the price of admission.
That's right. Absolutely. And she shared with us and with Jim not only this picture, but you want to tell us a little more about what we're looking at here, Jim?
Well, this is her uniform top. So she had a skirt as well as this top. She, I believe, served between 65 and 66. And we've also done a Donut Dolly detail, feature with her. So please check that one out. Linny Stone, Stone. And, so she actually would go and do quite a lot of speaking engagements for local community organizations in the Los Angeles area, and then also would join veterans and such. In fact, she was so involved that she would actually go to the Los Angeles VA in the West, I think the Westwood area, and she would go there once a week and hold trivia games, but basically they were just very similar to what she would have done and the other Donut Dollies would have done back in Vietnam. So she was, she collected Trivial Pursuit games, and so she would use those for the trivia questions for the men that would show up, and they had a great time. And with this image here, you can see there are 18 different patches, and we posted that this past Monday. And what we did is we asked the audience to help us identify these patches. And wow, did we get a lot of responses? And quite honestly, I think we've gotten all but one named. And I'm not sure, but it's the second row, third one in, the one with it looks like a bear and a cross at the top. I don't think anybody's been able to identify that. If someone can, that would be fantastic. It's also possible that that it might be from later, or Lenny actually did some work down in Australia, so maybe it has some connection to Australia. But anyways, but it's just wonderful, and we love sharing that.
Yeah, that's awesome, and thank you for everybody that helped us identify things. I could read the list you sent, Jim. Shout out to the gentleman who identified things, including Bob O'Neill, Ed R. Aldrich, Jack Painter, Jim Barnett, Jim Rude, Rick O'Brien, Rodney J. Dominic, Ronnie Reams, Terry Nauman, and Thomas C. Ayers. All of you, and thank you for following us on Facebook and sharing your identifications, which you can see on the post that Jim made the other day in the comments. But yeah, everything from U.S. Army Vietnam, 101st Airborne Division, 25th Infantry. Actually, that's one of my first memories of the Donut Dollies, because my mom was stationed at Cu Chi with the 25th Infantry, and that yellow lightning bolt was on one of the few pieces of memorabilia that didn't get destroyed for her was a letter opener. It looked like a sword, and I always thought that was super cool. And as a little kid, she let me kind of use it and hold it, and really piqued my interest in what she had done at that point, like 2+ decades earlier. So yeah, thank you all for those. And actually in the comments, I see Steve Hartman shared a recollection of flying a couple Donut Dollies near Cu Chi and having to do an emergency landing. He was hoping that when he safely brought them down, they would give him a hug, but sounds like they just ran away. Maybe one of them will remember that and be able to thank you now, Steve. Belatedly, but thank you for getting them down safe and sound.
Well, you can only imagine, if you have a hard landing, you might just want to go run away from it all. But anyways.
Absolutely. This is another bunch of patches. Do you want to tell us what we're looking at here, Jim?
Well, yeah, this is Mary Blanchard Bowes' boonie hat. And so this is really her personal history of, her service. She collected these pins, patches as well. Mary is also featured in our film alongside with Dorset, and she also returned after 47 years back to Vietnam. So that's documented in the film. And so she was, generous in sharing this, the boonie hat with us so that we could actually capture it. And you can see she's got AFVN in there, and she was known as Mary the Record Librarian. And so she had her own radio show, and she talks about that has talked about that very fondly. And I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name that she worked with. I should have prepped for this, but he was the Platter Poppin' Daddy or something like that. But she loved it. She loved being on the radio and talking, and sharing, the music. And music was really important at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. And we really appreciate that. And This is actually, we have a question from Gary Nichols in the comments. Thank you,
Oh,
Gary.
hi, Gary.
600 plus that served in, and these were in Vietnam. There were about 110 or so that had served in Korea as well. You were wondering, when did the first Donut Dolly arrive in Vietnam, and when did the last one leave? They came in starting around 65, and pretty much through the entire time that troops were stationed in Vietnam until about
up to 72.
Right?
72 is when they ended there.
And at the most, there was about 110 in country at any one time, scattered around the different bases, usually between 4 and 6 or so in one base, maybe a few more. But yeah,
there was 17 stations in all, when it was fully functioning. So, all right. So this I like. Marilee M.K. Shannon, really a very very nice and wonderful person. She's actually shared her material with us, as you can see. And she had put this post-it note on there, and I thought it was important. It says, "New Den, the men here built us a private privy and painted it black and red. It was great." And I mean, that meant something, obviously, to her, to have that memory and that piece of memorabilia. And when it comes to talking about the privies, and we know what we're talking about, because a lot of people question, so what did the women do when they were out in the field flying out to the fire bases? We actually do have some interview footage that we've included in our bonus features that comes along with the purchase of our film, that actually answers that question. And there are some, a couple of little funny photos that go along with that. And so it's, definitely check that out. And I should say, our feature film, or our film, is feature length. It's 87 minutes long. It's won an award. It's been nominated, quite a few times. We were very honored by that. And then the bonus features that we put together, there's at least 35 minutes of interview footage, photos, memorabilia, what have you, and those segments that kind of expand the story of what the Donut Dolly service was all about. And then there's a nearly 15-minute photo montage, which we put together, that it covers, I think there's maybe 125 photos, but in those photos, tons of group photos. So there's got to be 200, 300, maybe even 400 different Donut Dollies that are pictured in this photo montage. And that's part of the bonus features as well.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And another hat that Jim wore was putting those bonus features together, collecting the archival material, and putting together the archival stuff as well as the interviews. And we got and as Jim said, it was a feature length. It is a feature length documentary, but there's just no way to fit everything we wanted within that. So it was really nice to be able to expand and share the story further through the bonus materials. And we're also planning to do release bits on our YouTube channel. If you search for the Donut Dollies on YouTube, you'll find that, and we'll put stuff here on Facebook as well. This is an ongoing project and an ongoing labor of love. Yeah,
certainly is. This is a great image. This is something that was shared by Suzanne Shoemaker Fortune, and she shared other photos with us, but this is her own personal collage that she had put together, showing an artistic photo at the top center, and then a photo of her in a rec center probably, and just pins and patches and what have you. And it's just a lot is in that image right there, and we appreciate that she shared it with us.
Yeah, thank you. And we also have a comment. Thank you, Eloise Corley, Dorset, and Mary, and you were all in the same group in Washington, D.C. That's super cool. And you're looking forward to seeing us at the screening in Tampa. Awesome. I can't wait to see you there and hear more. And I know we have some...
What? There's a screening in Tampa?
Tell us about that, Jim. What is that?
Well, Well, we will be announcing that. It's the Vietnam Helicopter Pilot Association. So, what they're doing, they're hoping to have some Donut Dollies attend so that they can meet with the men and their spouses, and just kind of reconnect because these pilots were were instrumental in picking them up, getting them someplace, and then in turn getting them back safely. So I feel that they do want to have the opportunity to say thank you. So, and that's coming up in May in Tampa. It's not open to the public, but for Donut Dollies, we're going to work some magic there. So
nice. And this is an example of another three-dimensional artifact. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is again from Mary Blanchard bow. This is a mountain yard arrow and arrow set with a sheath, and the mountain yard people were just. It seemed that a lot of Donut Dollies had a real fond connection with these people, these mountain people, and a lot of activities were centered on assisting them in, I guess, what do I want to say? Irrigation, water, sewage, just basic necessities. And I think a lot of veterans also took part in that, on their free time, went and helped them take care of that. So in turn, items were presented as gifts. And so this is a gift that Mary held near and dear.
One of the places that Mary was stationed was Pleiku, which is in the mountains in the Highlands, and that is where she had the opportunity to connect with mountain yard peoples as well. And then this is a little hard to see, perhaps, but
we'll post this as for a Memorabilia Monday as well. Norm, can you tell what the date is at the top?
This is from this is a run schedule and from the Pleiku area, from Pleiku Sub Area Command from November 1st, 1968.
Right, and this comes from Ann Keister Brumback, and another just another Donut Dolly who's been generous with us and shared materials. And this was one of the first, we've had wants, like a want list of, things that we were seeking to help tell the story. And this was one of the early ones that really documented what the day or week in a life of a Donut Dolly was all about. And even if you can't read them individually, so in this setting in Pleiku, you can see there's three columns: run 1, run 2, and I believe the third column is for working in the recreation center. But you can tell that these runs meant either by Jeep, truck, or by helicopter. And it appears that each day they were going to at least 7 different locations. And it actually lays out the time frame and where they were going to. And it's just amazing that these women were working this hard, and really without a few complaints. It was.
And this is
a very tough job.
Yeah, and this is Monday through Thursday, but pretty much they were working 7 days a week for the whole time they were there. And in addition to the scheduled things of being in the office or flying out to a fire base to do a entertainment program or what they called programming, you had to create those programs, and you had to prepare stuff and rehearse and so it was definitely not a 9 to 5. And then in the evening when they got back, they were often invited to different events and kind of expected to attend there as well, even if they were tired or sad from things they'd seen or heard about that day. They had to kind of put on a smile, put on a happy face, and keep going to do their mission, which was to boost morale, be a reminder of home, someone to talk to, and very selfless job.
Absolutely.
And the next piece here.
Oh, who's that handsome man? And who's that beautiful woman?
Well, thank you. The guy, questionable about the handsome level, but that's me a few years ago when we were, I think this was soon after we actually returned from Vietnam, from the actual filming. I had a little more hair there. I maybe lost some during the filming and in the editing process. It's stressful, but it was a joy, and I especially joy because I got to work with my mom, who is the lovely woman there, Dorset, and she's looking at one of her favorite photos of her and a friend, another Donut Dolly friend, Linda Sullivan Schulte, and a GI that they met. I believe this was when they were stationed in Tuiwa, and all of those photos are different, different photos from her time or that she had gotten or were shared from other Donut Dollies. And in the back, you'll see her dress. She's very actually two different dresses. There was the powder blue one, and then another,
the official one.
That was the official one, and the darker blue one is I believe that was
actually
made
a turquoise green, I think.
Yeah, with stripes on the sleeve there. That was, I believe, made in Tuiwa for her. I believe. Have to ask her about that. But yeah, I'm very proud to have been able to do this with my mom. And she's seen it and gives it the thumbs up. So that's one of the most important reviews we could possibly get.
Yep. Yep.
And speaking of my mom, tell us what this one is, Jim.
Well, this is Dorset's MACV ID. And so what Norm, you might have to fill in a bit, but Dorset did her 1-year tour with the Donut Dollies. And at the end, there was always the option to renew for, a couple of months or, whatever. But at that time, there was no need. They had enough staff in the SRAO program. So she had decided that she really wanted to stay and get to know the Vietnamese people and live and work amongst them. And so at that time, she joined, I guess, through MACV in the international banking service that was, for the military and everyone attached with them. So I believe that's the story, Norm. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, exactly. And then she stayed another 6 months in Vietnam, stationed in Saigon, working at this job. When she decided, basically when the Red Cross said they didn't need any new or any extensions, she had to choose between flying back on the ticket that they provided or basically paying her own way home eventually. So but she really wanted to stay, get to know the people more, as Jim said. And so she got the job and saved up the money to be able to fly back right at the end of 1969. But and this was a find pretty much lost in the ruined remnants of the shed where most of her memorabilia had been. This fortunately survived because it was laminated, but we didn't find it until some ways into the production, actually. So yeah, I'm grateful to have that. And that is the end of this little slideshow. Yeah. And we can start to wrap up now. But thank you all for coming. And Jim, thank you so much for all the work you've done to collect these archival materials. And a deep thank you to everyone who's contributed and shared their treasures and their memorabilia and their memories, including the folks that have made comments today. It's an ongoing collection and ever enriching layers of knowledge. So we're really appreciative of that.
Yeah. And I'll just say this, that, if anybody, if there are any Donut Dollies or veterans that have, photos that they'd like to share with us, or for the Donut Dollies to reach out to us to take part in the Donut Dolly detail feature, we would love that. You can write us at memories@donutdollies.com. And it's a very simple procedure to answer the questions. There's no time crunch or anything like that. Some women do take their a little bit of extra time to really get back in touch with their memories, and they allow us to share that with all of you, and so we're really honored with that. And don't forget, we'll be here from time to time, and we'll be posting Memorabilia Monday. We'll work on Donut Dolly detail, but there's always, look at that, get the documentary now at donutdollies.com. And that is very true. We've had a great outpouring of people who are interested. Currently, we're in streaming availability, but very soon we're going to have DVD copies, and so those are going to be. We have, we have a lot of people clamoring for those. So if you're interested, let's see. Let's give a different email address. So I would say list, LIST at donutdollies.com. If you're interested in the DVD, and all you have to do is say, put me on the list for the DVD, and that'll be sufficient, and we'll add you to that list, and when it becomes available, we'll reach out to you. And just so you know, and I know you're sharing information with us, when it comes to emails and what have you. Please know that we're not going to share this with anybody. This is all proprietary to this project. And, we're not going to sell it or rent it or anything of the sort, because we have, great respect for everyone who's involved, the Donut Dollies, the veterans, and just want you to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Jim. And thanks everybody that tuned in or watches this later as well. But I'll thank the folks that made the comments: Susan, Mark, Steve, Gary, Eloise, Bud, and Gary. Thank you. At the last comment is, thank you for making such a great movie about a fantastic group of women who were there for us when they didn't have to be. Well, you are very welcome. It was our honor, is our honor. And thank you so much for your support. Yeah. All right. Well, I think thanks, guys. Thanks, Jim. And tune in next time to Donut Dollies Television. For now, we'll sign off with, I think I can play the trailer one more time, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I would meet the Donut Dollies, and I'd say, are you crazy? What are you doing in Vietnam?
Our mission was morale for the enlisted man.
When you started to describe the program, you would get the reaction of, you did what?
My job as a Donut Dolly was to be as cheery and optimistic as I could.
That's what a Donut Dolly is, a gal from home who came and cared.
They were really, really exposing themselves to real dangers. Also the everyday brutality of the war.
At any given time, they could have been killed.
Things like that, they make you grow up.
Because we're going back to Vietnam 46 years later, every once in a while I think about it and I think, gosh, what if you hear the echoes of the past?
Let's go to Tuiwa.
This is so exciting.
I remember this place from 46 years ago. When I walked in, I knew I had been right here.
You never really forget. That's a hard chapter to close.
They deserve being remembered for what they did. They didn't have to come here, but they came here for a reason.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.